Greetings all, Zechs here for my final entry of my 13 Slays of Halloween. Now before I go into the movie I'm actually going to review, or say movies, I just want to give you a shout out to all those who watched this, who endured it, as much as I endured seeing some of these movies. I just want to say thank you very much. I just want to say thank you for just choosing these various movies. Probably would never seen these movies if I had known about, thanks to you guys. So I just want to say thank you very much for that. I'm considering doing this next year. I mean, you guys enjoy seeing me in pain, obviously, from seeing the reviews of Zombie Ass Toilet Dead and Beast of Yucca Flats. You really do enjoy me in pain. So maybe I'll do that again next year. But let's end this year with a bang. And I decided for my final entry in this series, I decided to be a little selfish. I'm sorry. I mean, yesterday's entry of the thing was pretty much someone chose that, so I cannot help that they chose something I love and adore on John Carpenter. But this, I decided to go with my own choices and pretty much go to something in a safe zone. And besides, it's Halloween. How can I not, do Halloween without talking about this set here that came out? The darn thing just hit me in the head. This thing's also an aggressive little beast. But this Blu-ray set that came out earlier this month, I had to get, because I love the series. Well, except for the last two films of Rob Zombie, but I still love the series, no matter what. Even the bad films are pretty much fun to watch. Okay, I'll take that back. The one film I'm going to talk about today, Halloween 6. As I said before in the above text above, there's 3 versions of this film. Now, 2 of the versions, I mean, one version doesn't count because really it's just the theatrical cut with extra violence. Halloween, though I love the series and it's a horror film franchise, gore is not what this film series is about. It's about suspense, it's about thrillers, it's about the, pretty much, I mean, it is a slasher film franchise. It started the slasher film franchise. Number 2 is gore-filled too, but this particular entry is just way over the top. I mean, if people who hate part 2 or part 3 think those are bad, this one takes those gores and things to the next level of just awfulness. And either you like that over the top campiness or you don't. Me, I kind of was disappointed in the film overall, that one, because one, the last 2, this one and the last one pissed me off no end. Because the last one killed off Rachel, who I love to death, the character from Halloween 4. And the character they placed her with, what his name was, I mean, that's the thing about this one. You can't remember this freaking character's name, and I want to say it's Tamara. I was watching this too, so it's pissing me off that I forget her so easily. But it doesn't surprise me since I forgot. But her character was so annoying. Really, the only thing I enjoyed about that character was her in the car scene being totally oblivious to Michael Myers sitting right next to her, thinking it was her boyfriend who got previously. And the barn scene, which was more of the direction and the cinematography than actual actress, because, oh god, that was creepy as fuck. But this film really pissed me off because, one, it got rid of Jamie Lloyd, who was played by Danielle Harris in the previous 2 films, replaced her with another actress, and she's not bad herself, but it's just that you're built up so much on Jamie Lloyd in the last 2 films, and whoop, nope, she's gone. What? You're just gonna get rid of her that easily? Now, I mean, I read the IMDb page and said supposedly there was a little dispute of salary and Danielle Harris was supposed to return, but she didn't like getting her character killed off. And I understand that. I mean, you can't kill these characters off. I mean, there's a reason why Loomis survived through these 6 films up to this point. Or I should say 5 films. He was in Halloween 3, but or he was supposed to die in 5 too. But yeah, he came back in 6 for one final time. But that's the problem this franchise has, is that every time you get a central character, they're bound to get killed off eventually. I mean, or they'll get disinterested of the franchise because they'll get typecast, like Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, after Halloween, she got stuck in all these horror films in the early 80s, either by her own agent telling her to get these roles, or just that because she wanted to be a John Carpenter again. And I understand why she didn't return to this franchise until H2O, which was pretty much probably the best one. Now that I've looked at it, I've given all these Halloween movies a look through, including the Rob Zombie ones, and honestly, H2O is probably one of the best ones of the bunch, other than the original three. And I still enjoy 4. 4 is a guilty pleasure movie. I love Dwight Little's direction in that movie. I love the cinematography. I love the acting in that. It's just, everything is so good. I mean, it's just a fun little film. And it's all because of Danielle Harris, too. I mean, she acted her freaking ass off, and she's an amazing child actress in those 2 movies. And she's probably one of the best things about Rob Zombie's films, too, but, I just don't like Rob Zombie's films. They try to have the whole origin story and try to have the supernatural thing, too. It's like trying to introduce something new, but not sticking to your guns and having your cake pretty much in the previous franchise and trying to combine both. And it's just, I just wish somebody else takes the franchise next and just try something new, because the zombie films really leave a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, there's so many good things about it, but there's also so many bad things about it. But Halloween 6 is kind of the same thing, where there's so many bad things about Part 6 that it pisses me off to no end. And the most thing that, besides the Danielle Harris characters, Jamie Lloyd's getting killed off very quickly in the movie, is that there's no real character to root for but Loomis, and he's barely in the movie that much. I mean, the reason why is because they reshot the movie, and by that time period when they reshot the movie, Donald Pleasant unfortunately died. And it also didn't help matters, but supposedly the director didn't like Donald Pleasant for some reason. I don't understand why, because I love Donald Pleasant in the movies. He's a freaking main character of this franchise at this point, other than Danielle Harris. And, I mean, this is all supposed to get answers. This is the movie we're supposed to get answers from the last 2 films. And instead of getting answers, we were getting the carpet pulled from under us and saying, ha 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 ha. There's nothing really happening. It's just a little conspiracy, but it's pretty much a joke. And then 2 minutes later, Michael Myers just slays them all, because the weird thing is, though, is that it is a creepy climax, but it makes no fucking sense. It absolutely makes no fucking sense, especially when you're putting it in all so much in this Man in Black in the number 5 film as a Wild West Michael Myers guy with a shotgun or a gun. We don't really see the gunshots go off. We don't really see him with the shotgun or anything, but I'm assuming he has a shotgun. But it's just, it was so disappointing, that film, and this, I mean, just everything about it's so disappointing. It feels like there's so much missing in it. And enter the producer's cut, which is pretty much the original cut of the film, which before, as I said before in the text above, test audiences hated. Now, a year after this movie came out, the theatrical version, somebody found the producer's cut and put it all on convention circuit. It's been on there since. And last year was the first actual official debut of it on a theater. And this year was the official release of it via that package. And you can get that package in that set. So I thought, what the hell? I mean, I love the first 4 films. This is just a bonus on the icing on the cake. I mean, the 5th film I still love too, but it's a mixed bag, and I just don't like the character. Tina, there's her name, Tina. It just annoys me, especially with Rachel's and her actress was so much a better choice in that franchise. But it just, the producer's cut, I want to talk about the producer's cut. It's pretty much a good movie, but it feels there's parts missing. But you understand why those parts are missing, because they weren't shot, they weren't filmed, they weren't put in there, because by that time point when they heard that early part of the film, they decided to track back. But when you see for this time, for the first time, you see actual answers being told. You get an actual storyline for once, an actual straight path of story from beginning, middle, and end. And that much I'll applaud the movie for that, because the actual theatrical cut was just all over the place, and there's no real suspense, there's no real terror, except for the only scene that was kept in the original theatrical cut is when Kim Darby's character of one of the elder Strode lady gets a freaking axe to her face. I mean, that's pretty much the best part of the entire movie for me, because that was so suspenseful. You're like, oh fuck, 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 fuck. And the direction is pretty good too. The clotheslines all over the place blowing. And you're like, okay, where's Michael at? Where's Michael at? And all of a sudden, boom, the reveal, and then the axe. I mean, that's just amazing. That was an amazing shot scene. But for this thing, there's actual suspense in it, and there's actual a better score in this by Alan Howarth, and there's so much better in it. I mean, Paul Rudd still gives this monolithic performance as Tommy Doyle, and he's all, but now there's a reason for it, and pretty much in the theatrical cut, Tommy Doyle's like, yeah, I got this plan, man. I've been preparing for this my entire life. And then pretty much he doesn't have a plan, and he kind of MacGyvers it away to the end of the movie. In this version of the film, there's an actual plan. Tommy actually does have a plan. He talks to the main character in this movie, besides himself in this. He talks to Loomis about this too, that he has a plan to deal with Michael. And we actually see this plan. It's a stupid plan, but it actually works. Now, the thing is, you're going to either love or hate this film either way for that. For me, this whole cult thing, I could see why it was cut, because the costumes in this movie are ridiculous. Especially the scene where they're pushing Jamie Lloyd, now older Jamie Lloyd, to getting her birth for her kid. And just seeing the Man in Black being like, it was just, I had to start laughing my ass off. It's just bad. But you can understand what they were going for. I mean, it's still kind of creepy, but I was laughing my ass off more. And I could understand why test audiences would think that was horrible. But honestly, I mean, it's still more cohesive than pretty much, we're just having a prank. It's Halloween. It's over with. Don't worry about it, because I'll take that costume off. Or take this costume off. Plus, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever the character will win throughout that movie, in the theatrical cut. Here, you know why Win is in the movie. He has a plan. He has a whole, pretty much, part. You already know in the original theatrical cut that pretty much he's a fucking asshole, prick, evil person. You know the twist is coming, because they don't underline that in that movie. Here, you get the sense that Win, in the beginning parts of this movie, is trying to help Loomis, and you're like, okay. The betrayal in this movie, like, later comes on, it's like, okay, this makes more sense now. It is more frightening. And also, the Man in Black also continues to be that presence as he was in that was established in the fifth film. I mean, he shows up all covered like he did in the fifth film. You don't see him, but he does certain things in this film until he's revealed as Mitchell Ryan's character Win. Excuse me. And I mean, this isn't like the best Halloween film, but it's still a more cohesive Halloween film. And I have to honestly say, recommend it. I mean, it's still not the best ones of the sequels. I still enjoy pretty much Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, and hell, I'll like 5 just a tiny bit, but I'll probably put H2O better than that. I mean, it surprised me how much H2O really got better after watching all these movies, and how it's just so freaking awesome and amazing to see Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode just kick freaking Michael's ass here to high heaven, and just capped off for beheading him. But I'm glad they got the franchise back on the right path for that film. I wish that was the final straw of it, because really there was nothing really to go with Michael at this point. And after this, I mean, that's the one problem of this movie, is that even the producer's cut has this issue with the theatrical that doesn't, is that it doesn't really have a climax. Like you're set up for this like cat and mouse game at the Rhodes, or say, this not the Rhodes, the Strode's house, then at Doyle's house with Michael going after them, and then pretty much the cult comes in, does the one betrayal, and all this happens, and shenanigans, and we're back to the hospital. And this is where the theatrical cut and the producer's cut differentiates. From there was like the Lynn's ultimate plan is revealed in the producer's cut. The theatrical cut, it's just like, oh, ha ha ha, like I said that before. But the producer's cut, there is no real climax. There's no edge of your seat tension. It's just pretty much Tommy and Loomis go in there. Loomis tries to reason with Wynn. Wynn's like, bullshit, you're going to be my heir to this thing. You're going to be inheriting Michael, or be inheriting the next thing I'm creating. It's going to be like Michael. Yeah, I'm retiring. I'm getting the fuck out of this business. And Tommy pretty much does what he does, and Michael just stands there for the most of the climax. I mean, that's all he does. He just stands there. And I could see why it pisses people off, because that's all he does. I mean, the best thing Michael does at the end of the film is pretty much his little costume switch, and pretty much switching his costume with Wynn's, and Wynn pretty much wearing Michael's mask, and Michael wearing the Man in Black outfit, which is pretty nice ending, which is pretty much Michael just walking back to the wherever the darkness he came from, and just turning and just looking at, hearing Loomis scream as he's become the new guardian of him, and just kind of cool. But honestly, I'd probably give this a 3 out of 5. I mean, it's not. I mean, it still has its issues, but it doesn't have many issues I would have the actual theatrical cut. I mean, the theatrical cut, it's a 1.5 out of 5. I'd only give it a half star more because I do love that one scene, and I do love a little bit of the climax, even though it makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But that's fucking creepy when the girl comes up to Tommy and she's like, "Oh yes, welcome home, he's back, and I've been marked," and it's fucking creepy as hell. I mean, I'll give it that props for that. But other than that, it's a horrible movie. It's an awful movie. There's a reason why they dropped the whole plot after this movie. And you could, I mean, honestly, my final thoughts on this is that only get this set if you don't have the Blu-ray set of the first 5 films, and if you want the Rob Zombie films, that too. Halloween 6 really is pretty much anyone's cup of tea. Like that and Resurrection are either like the little extras. You don't really want to see these films, but you might enjoy it. You might not. Probably not going to enjoy it, but for me, Halloween 6 is something that I pretty much can understand why they had to restart the franchise, and But the producer's cut wasn't bad. I honestly was entertained by it. I have to say that. I mean, it surprised me how much more fulfilling it was, even though they still killed off Jamie Lloyd's character, and that pissed me off. I mean, even though they do give Danielle Harris a credit in the movie, it still pisses me off that her character's killed off. I kind of enjoyed that character. I wanted to see more of that character. And even though they brought her back, but as a different character in the Rob Zombie films, it still wasn't enough. And it still pissed me off. They fucking killed her in those movies too. But anyway, that's my ending as the sound of the chimes right now. That's the end of my review, and that's the end of Halloween. Both this and Halloween 6. And hopefully, maybe I'll do this again. But until then, thank you all, and I hope you endured as much as I did. Until maybe next year, or until another review where the Outsiders send me to my doom against horrible movies next summer. In fact, there isn't that many horrible movies. But next year before that, oh god, 2 years. They're really gonna kill me in 2 years, 2016. Batman vs. Superman. And even more worse than that, TMNT 2. Until then, happy Halloween. Bye bye.